there's one thing that if you're online, it's probably costing you 10 or more % of your sales. In fact, most of the studies that I see say 20 to 30% of your sales. What is it? Well, first off, I need to point out something. It's easy to fix, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. What that thing is speeding up your website. And I know some of you go, "Oh, Don, that's hard to do." Well, you know what? It actually isn't that hard. I'm going to show you several key things that can fix the most of the problem for you. So basically what you're doing is you're improving your page load speed. I see this happen all the time where someone will show me their web page. I'm doing a site review or something like that. They show me their website and I'll say, "This is loading really slow." I know. I wish it was better. And it's like, well, don't wish, fix it. So let's talk about some things you can do to fix it. Number one is to change your web host. So the vast majority of sites where this is happening are people who are using HostGator, Bluehost, SiteGround, the cheap web hosts, the ones that everybody gets in because it says, "Hey, you can host for $2.95 for a year." Well, guess what? What they do is they put so many different websites on it that they take what could be a good server and they slow it down so much because it's trying to do so much for so many people that it's virtually impossible to get your site to load quickly. So paying a little bit more money to get a better server will make all the difference in the world in terms of page load speed. Next, assuming that you're using WordPress, get rid of most of your plugins. Every time I get into somebody's back end of their WordPress site, I find over and over again, they've got 20, 25 plugins, and many of those are deactivated. Well, here's the thing. Just because a plugin is deactivated, it's still loading. Every single page that someone goes to on your website, that deactivated plugin loads. And if they're active, it also loads. And by the time you get 20 different plugins, every one of them loading something every single time someone goes to the page, you look at it and you go, no wonder their site's slow. And if you watch down in the bottom left-hand corner of your browser and you can see what the site is waiting for, I see things happen every single day. Like, why is PayPal loading on this blog post? Why is regex loading on this blog post? Just sites that don't make any sense at all loading on a blog post, probably because they've got a plugin that is calling that and it's slowing everything down. The vast majority of people need about 1/4, maybe 1/3 of all the plugins that they've gotten on their sites. And many, many times what's ended up happening is they got a plugin because they didn't know how to do something, where if they just knew a wee bit more, they'd know how to do that without using a plugin, and they just removed that plugin from the equation. Next, resize your images. It is remarkable how many times I find somebody with an image that's 5,000 pixels wide that they're loading into something that needs a 400, 500 pixel size. Why? Because they just don't understand that a 5,000 pixel wide thing is going to take like 10 times longer to load than a 500 pixel image. Actually, that's a whole lot less than it is. Probably 20 to 30 times longer to load because it's that much bigger of a file. So anytime you buy a stock photo, it's probably like 5,000 pixels wide, and you don't ever need a 5,000 pixel wide picture on a website. So figure out the size that you needed to be, and then size it that size, no bigger. Next, I'm going to get a little technical on you here. Use a caching service. So like Cloudflare. You can get it for free. You can pay a little bit to get additional services. Basically what this does is it takes your website and puts it on a whole bunch of different computers around the world so that when someone is going to your website from Japan, they can go to it loads from a server in Tokyo, not a server in New York City or Alabama or England. Plus, more important than that is if you're using WordPress, what you want, so every time someone calls a page on WordPress, WordPress has to build that entire page and then they serve it to you. So what a Cloudflare does is it builds the whole page. It takes a copy of that page and puts it on all these servers all around the world. And so what ends up happening is not only do you save because the server that's sending your web page to somebody is closer to them, so you don't have to go to all the time to get it from New York to go to Tokyo, but also it doesn't have to wait for it to load on the computer way back in New York in the first place because it's already all loaded. So trust me, you need something like a Cloudflare, a caching service all over the world. One plugin that I do recommend that will help solve this is called WP Rocket. So this is a plugin that is basically designed to make your website load faster. And so it's got like, I don't know, a whole bunch of different things. Let's just pull a number out of the top of my head. 9, 5, something like that. It's got a whole bunch of different things that it does specifically to make your website load faster. In most cases, WP Rocket will significantly increase and improve the speed of your site. I strongly recommend you get it. So what this thing all comes down to, I've given you, I don't know, 5, 6 different tips that every one of them is easy. All of but the first one where you're changing hosts, every one of the other ones is free or could be free. Strongly recommend you do this, but I'm going to put one more thing on top of that. And that's a mindset issue, which is this. Pay attention to your load speed. Don't just discount it. Don't just say, oh, yes, it's slow. I wish my site was faster. Well, it can be. Fix it. Work to improve it. There are things you can actively do to improve it. Pay attention to those and actually do those things so you no longer have that excuse. The longer your page takes to load, the lower it'll be in the search engine rankings, and the more frustrated people are when they get there. Many people leave before it entirely loads, and those who stay are already started off frustrated with you, feeling like you're not a pro because your website took so long to load. Let's not do that to ourselves. Don't take out a gun and shoot yourself in the foot when you can fix it with so many of these things that I just told you about that are free. Now, that may not improve it entirely, but it's a great first step that every one of us can do. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.